Hello? All right. I can't believe that something happened and my mic got pulled out and I did not realize it. All right. So let's. Oh, kill me. All right. So from the top. Oh, and I'm going to resound. Yay! All right. So I was saying, hello, Daniel. First of all, good to see you. I guess you'll get caught up now because I'm going to take this all from the top. And I'll cut the intro out. But I guess first, hello. Thank you, Neon Ghost, Omax, for coming. Thanks for showing up. It seems like I got a few more people now, so yeah. All right, from the top. Hello. So we're doing this month's dev update for Circle of Orion. I guess we'll restart right now. No, not the stream, but we'll go right back into it and act like nothing happened. All right. So the main accomplishment this month, the main big thing I did is I got all the cutscenes for the first pass of all the cutscenes for Chapter 1 finished. As sends. All right, so yeah, they're all right here, the cutscenes for Chapter 1. The way it works, yeah, is I have a dialogue file. We'll pull up this. I don't know. We'll pull up one of these. Yep, which has all the dialogue lines as well as any other events, camera blending, timers, playing a level sequence inside of it, with a name matching a scene file. So when that dialogue starts, it loads in this scene as a sub-level with all the characters and stuff I need for that scene, unloads it at the end when the dialogue is finished. So it's a very nice way of keeping it compartmentalized. We don't open to this level. It is loaded as a sub-level, so all the data from the level is maintained. I was also mentioning in the pre-stream, I have some 80% cacao dark chocolate that I'm trying out, and I think I'm going to stick with 70% because I think 85% is just a little. Well, it's 85%. It's a little too dark for me, but it goes great with green tea, which is what I'm also drinking. All right, so cutscenes. So when I say I have the first pass done, what that means is I have cameras, character positions, a little bit of movement, all the dialogue lines, because the script, the second draft of Chapter 1 is finished. Probably bearing a mostly close resemblance to what the final draft of the script will be. What is still outstanding are, one, as you can see, there's a lot of Yui mannequins, so character models are outstanding. I need to finish the character models for everyone. I need to add, there are some animations in, but mostly animations need to be added in. Same with dialogue portraits, need to be finalized for these characters. And then in a couple cases, there's an instance where we do a fade out to imply an action is taking place, and then a fade back in. If I have the time, I would like to make those more properly animated, because that'll be more interesting than just a fade out, fade in. But at the very least, yeah, we need to update character models and animations and dialogue portraits, and I think music and some sound effects. But a lot of the hardest part, for the most part, the hardest part is finished for Chapter 1, and that's Chapter 1 of 9. So, yeah, that kind of gives you a milestone as to where things are at. Once all the cutscenes done, I still have to do combat encounters and then any other side content and stuff, but there is at least progress being made. So that was my big thing for the last month. And then what I was showing off earlier when I realized my audio wasn't working, you guys told me my audio wasn't working, was that I was just showing off the blueprint, the gameplay, Omega gameplay system that runs the dialogue. But you can look at that. That's an Omega game framework demo, systems and dialogue, and you can look at that on your own time. So while that took up the majority of the time for the month, there were a number of other things I did as well. So one thing is, because there's been all this talk about, Unreal Engine and performance on it, One of the issues has to do with of why both Unreal Engine and other engines are having performance problems. One of the reasons has to do with kind of how the new rendering hardware, the GPUs as well as the rendering hardware interfaces, the RHIs, like DirectX 12, namely, how they are built and structured and how that's kind of hampering performance. So, I don't use DirectX 12 for that reason, because that has problems. In fact, we did use DirectX 12 to render, which is the default one that Unreal 5 uses, and we used it on the demo for Normore. But it turned out that was actually, it was causing a couple issues. Namely, a few people couldn't even run the demo because DX11 just wasn't working on their machine. So I had to give them advice on how to basically hack it to use DX11 instead, which is what I was then using, DirectX 11, because it's more stable. But I still wanted to use Nanite, because you can't use that on DX11. So I switched over to using Vulkan Renderer instead, which is the successor to OpenGL. This is a bit more of a technical talk, so I'll go over it. I'll try to make it brief. But yeah, so now we're primarily running on Vulkan Renderer, which is actually what they run on Steam Deck, because it's basically the open source one that every machine can run. So that's going to be my development target currently for rendering. Also, really nice is about the Steam Deck. Yeah, as it's a nice it's a nice benchmarking tool. It's got all sorts of great options for checking performance, like frame rate and where the resources are going. As well as creating like a standardized platform to test your computer or your to test your game on. So yeah, that's actually one thing I'm hoping to try out and report for next month. Is I want to do another full package build of the game and get it on Steam Deck so I can do some performance tests, because I can actually run all the way through Chapter 1 now, even though encounters aren't really in. But aside from that, the actual battles aren't in. But aside from that, I can go through pretty much all of Chapter 1 right now. So yeah, that'll be what I'll be trying to report back on that next month. I think at the moment, anti-aliasing is another topic that that's come up. Let's see. If I check anti-aliasing, I believe, right now I'm using temporal just as a quick solution. I will definitely add an option to select the anti-aliasing option in the final game. Because... one second. I gotta sneeze. Oh, come on. Excuse me. All right. I don't like any of the anti-aliasing options that Unreal has. FXA is too blurry, even if it's cheap. Everyone knows kind of the issues. Well, most people know the issues with temporal and super resolution anti-aliasing, or any kind of temporal anti-aliasing. And multi-sampling only works on forward rendering, which I'm not using. Gotta mute for a second. It'd be nice if we had SMAA of some type or whatever, but what are you gonna do? But yeah, I'll have an option so you can select that. For the moment, I'm just using in mind temporal anti-aliasing, because my performance cost is low enough to where it doesn't cause big ghosting problems or anything like that. So... yeah. All right. That's enough of GPU talk. Let's go over some more optimizations, because on top of basically optimization has been the second thing I have been prioritizing this last month, on top of finishing up the cutscenes for Chapter 1. One of those optimization. Let's actually. I guess there's two to go over. First, I want to talk about how I'm handling, just briefly, some lighting. So, in my game, and as well as Omega Game Framework, there is an actor called an environment, which just has all your basic environmental components built in. So you have a general post-processing volume that's unbound, clouds, atmosphere, fog, directional light, skylight, potential PCG component, as well as a skybox, which is what I'm using, because I'm not using their sky and cloud component because they're too expensive and I don't need them. And then audio, which is just a quick way to add an ambient audio to your entire level if you want to. Stuff like that's more useful for a smaller game. But yeah, so now you have one actor altogether, and I can, if I delete this, which I shouldn't, but I'll just do it temporarily, and go down to Omega Game Framework. So yeah, I can just drop a new environment. on there, and immediately I got starter lighting, even though I think it's still waiting for, yes, still waiting for shaders to compile. Please show me where the shaders are compiled. There we go. So, you know, but that's not the one I'm using. This is, because this is my custom one. All right, so, yeah, and that's how I've spent a lot of time trying to get lighting effects that are cheap, and also don't look straight out of Unreal Engine. So one thing I noticed, a lot of Unreal Engine games I was playing some earlier have, like, leave a lot of the shadows and stuff the way they are. I've added a bit of cube map lighting to add a persistent light to even shaded spots, as well as I've sharpened the shadows, since I'm going for a little more of an anime style anyway. So that's why you'll notice the shadows are actually, oops, stop it, are sharper than in other games. So like if I pull them up, I can actually, let me see, I can even show you that. Yeah, it's this one, shadow filter sharpness, which I can turn down. I believe it's 0 by default. You can go all the way to 1. I have it at 0.5 for now. Also, another trick I found is because I noticed that if I go ahead and drop, let's find Ellen, drop her in. I noticed pretty consistently that the way characters would look in like Blender or whatever when they would be designed was not how they would look in the engine itself. There was always an inconsistency there, and it made them look, you know, they looked weird and bloomy in the engine. Well, that's because of this fella right here, the tone curve amount. I mean, there's some other color settings, but yeah, like this is the default tone curve of, and you can already see like how different it is from what I have from Unreal Engine, which creates this extra like contrastness to it. I was actually playing, okay, so I can't actually let me. I was gonna say something, but I want to make some. I want to check first to see what I was about to say is true. Okay, yes. So I was playing a game called Evil West, just the other day, which, oops, sorry. Let me pull up. Which, by the way, this game is super fun. Yeah, I was playing this. It's just a linear, action game. You play as a steampunk cowboy in the Old West fighting vampires. Super simple, but incredibly fun. However, I also think the game can be pretty ugly in a few of its environments. Partly because of the way it handles a lot of lighting and shadows. It's very harsh and not in a way it's just not nice to look at. They also don't have a lot of great effects or options for modifying visual effects. But yeah, so this is the, sorry about that, Ellen. So yeah, this is the default tone mapping for Unreal Engine, and it's does that sort of, you know, it does modify the coloring and stuff. So one of the first things I looked up, or tried to look up, was how to change that, and it's this one right here. It's in the post-processing. It's called tone curve amount. So yeah, by default it's that. I just turned it all off, and then I get a more accurate representation of how the files and textures and stuff actually look. I'll also okay, so I was normally going to go to 130. We'll see how much I get done. I may go a little longer since I had the sound problem, but if I run out of stuff to talk about, then oh well. But yeah. Also on the note of the environment actor, you can obviously go down and modify the variables and the components here, but I've actually made all of the components. I think if you go into advanced, yeah, they're all exposed in the actor itself, so you can actually just look up and modify properties in the actor without needing to select the component directly. So just a bit of convenience for you. Yeah, I've also, let's see if I go to lighting. I've made some adjustments to the lighting as well, the directional light component, to try and reduce some of the performance costs. But yeah, it's kind of neat. I'm since the Steam Deck is going to be my benchmark for performance, basically I need to make sure I can hit a consistent 60 FPS on Steam Deck. That's my goal. And so, yeah, I kind of need to set up a better pipeline for getting it on there to test before I really report back with results. But I am quite happy with how the results are coming along. Which, by the way, we're on this map right now. I guess I should explain. Yeah, this is one of the maps I was most recently working on. This is one of the Chapter 1 dungeons. It's a mountain path, and obviously still needs a bit more work, but it's well on its way. I'd say it probably just needs some of the rocks to be changed and a little bit of extra detail, but it's in a pretty decent shape for what I have been wanting, and it makes a nice test environment for visuals as well. But yeah, All right, so what else do I want to talk about? All right, optimizations. So optimizing the lighting and rendering is one thing. But another thing is optimizations, especially when working in the editor. Because one thing I have found is that blueprint actors don't seem to be very scalable. If you're working on a small game like Liberty Bell, and you only have a few, maybe a dozen or so actors of you have a specific class like a character class, you might only have a few dozen of those actors in your level or less, and you're only going to have so many levels. Well, let me check the number. Circle of Orion has currently a total between maps, sublevels, prefabs, and everything. Circle of Orion currently has a total of 279 levels in level assets in the game. Most of those have an iteration of the main character class blueprint on there, which means anytime I make a change to let me actually pull it up to show. Anytime I make a change to this main character class, it's got to recompile across, I don't know if it's all those levels or what, but it's basically got to do a big old recompilation of everything. That takes time. It can really start to affect performance. And I've also found I don't know if it's a bug or what, but if I do a recompilation of a actor blueprint when the actors are on several different sublevels, it'll load all the actors on every sublevel at once, which is very annoying. So, in line with that and kind of trying to make the development process simpler, I've been sort of leaning towards finding ways to not rely on custom blueprint actors, well, at least not on that scale. Because another element actually is that any code or anything you write in this actor, and I don't know exactly how Unreal Engine does it, but I'm pretty sure that like all this extra code I have, that's code that's going to be replicated across every instance of that character in memory, unless maybe it's a constant function, I don't know. But point being, a system I have currently been working on to sort of optimize this is what I'm. It's a new feature that it's an experimental feature, so I don't know quite where it's going to go. But it's called actor processors, which actor processors are singleton actors that get spawned into the world at runtime, not at construction time. And this is important, so they're not going to be run ever in editor. Any of the code of them does not need to be run or compiled in editor because they're only spawned in runtime. And they will handle essentially in bulk. You can essentially assign. Well, let me show you an example. So let's say I have I'll just get the Omega, generic Omega character class here. All right, so I got this guy right here. Now, there's a few different roles this character could fill. He could be an NPC, he could be an enemy, or maybe he's just a background character. Well, I have a new component here called actor config. And you can create these actor configurations, which are sort of like data-oriented construction scripts. You can set a default one in your, if I go to blueprints. If you go to your game settings asset, you can set default configurations for things like character or floating combatant, which is the current name for like a floating interactable actor, but I won't get into that right now. So like right now, the default one is NPC. So if I don't manually assign a configuration to a character, let's see, look this up, config. Yeah, if I don't manually assign a configuration to a character, it'll default to NPC. But what that does on top of, let me go there. On top of allowing me to set some construction scripts, which I don't think I have any made up right now, to configure the character, it also will give them a actor processor that they're going to be assigned to when the game actually starts up. And so instead of handling the code on the actor, I handled it on the processor, so it's all done in one place for all the actors in this group, which is very convenient. It's kind of ECSE, kind of. So where actors are more used for like the character actors would be used for storing data rather than a lot of functionality, and then the functionality would be run in this single spot. Now, I haven't really done anything with this yet because it's still in performance. Right now, it just prints out how many NPCs there are, which I'm actually going to disable. But yeah, this would be kind of what I'm experimenting with as a way I can essentially have a single character class that I drop in and out, preferably a C++ class, so which is going to be much faster. Hopefully I believe in game, but also in editor. And then I can just assign a data asset for configuration to it, which is not compiled, so it'll work in the editor faster. And then just on startup, since we're only referencing a single instance of this class, well, that's all we need to worry about. Like if I hit compile of this, it compiled immediately. If I compile, let me grab the character and make a change. No, that's the Omega character. If I grab, yeah, let's say let's reattach that. Let's do a comparison. This isn't going to do anything, but I do G, compile. Okay, it took a second, it's still giving me issues. This one should be like right away, yeah. That's only because I only have this one level loaded into memory. That starts really adding up when you have several levels loaded into memory, so. It's again, another way of trying to reduce hard references between blueprints because that it affects particularly editor performance. I don't know about. I'm assuming there'll be benefits to gameplay performance as well, but editor performance is a big thing because it allows me to actually make the game faster and hopefully worry about fewer crashes. So yeah, the actor processor, the way. Oh yeah, this is. Again, it's experimental. I don't know if and when it'll be released with Omega updates, but the way it works, yeah, is you just in your game settings, you'll just assign what actor processors you want to run, and if I go ahead and hit play, come on, baby, America, load into performance. Okay, what is with that performance hit? Okay, I don't know what that's all about. Maybe it might be because I'm streaming as well. I don't know. But oh wait, there we go. That's better. But yeah, if I go up here and look up actor pro, the actor processors are running kind of like gameplay systems. Can you see who's assigned to it? No, I might change that as well. But then yeah, so right now I think everyone is assigned to an NPC. It's also a way you could like turn off components on a actor by actor basis that you don't need. Did my OBS break? No. Okay, it's back. It looks like. So, all right. So that's the actor processor. Work in progress. All right. I think. What are we at? We're at 130. All right. I think that's most of the stuff I had to cover so far. So some optimization, visual, GPU and CPU optimizations, as well as finishing up Chapter 1's early cutscenes. That's been the main stuff for this month. I'm probably not going to move on to Chapter 2 cutscenes just yet because I want to try some other stuff for Chapter 1. I probably need to start working on getting character models for more, at least placeholder, more Phase 1, I guess, character models in. So I guess yeah. Well, I might poke around to see if there's other stuff I can show. Oh, I actually have one thing I can show off because I was fiddling with it a little earlier. But if any of you guys have questions, or if there's anything you want to see, you post it in the chat right now, and I can go to that before we head out. But in the meantime, one thing I was actually working on a little bit earlier that's already in Omega, but it's might be fun to talk about is, let's see, yeah, randomized meshed actor. This is a simple, easy way of having speeding up level development. It's just it is an actor with a mesh component that you can assign some random values to from a seed, and you can also just seed it from its location. So for instance, if I do tree, sorry, I'm in a custom. Yeah, my thing is on the other screen. All right, so let me drop these tree meshes on here, and so I got those. If I do seed from location, every time I move it, it'll seed it. So I can just go like this. Oops. And it'll be randomly assigning them. And of course, I can turn that off and edit it'll keep the seed what it is, and then I can do some manual edits to stuff if I need to. You can do things like editing The rotation, which might be broken at the moment, I don't know, but the scale min and max. Kind of like PCG, but it's more just quicker to use. If it's like for this one specific use case, it's much quicker to use. Oh yeah, and I've got to turn seed from location back on. But also, you can, if I go ahead and delete all of, and again, a C++ class, so you don't need to create derivatives, actor derivatives of it that would increase performance. Although I should have kept one of those around. We'll drop a new one in. You can also, though, create presets of them. So if I drop on tree birch, it basically was the same as what you just saw. Same thing I can see from location. Let's open this up and show it off. Same parameters you can set up here. But you can also set up material overrides with it. So like if I go and do this one, there you go. Green tree. And then you can edit that in one spot, and it'll edit it across everything. So like here, yeah, well, the way it works is it'll look up a material slot, replace the leaves that go there. So hippity hoppity. Close out. Yep. And what's a nice example of this is, let me look up some of my prefabs to show how I've used it, because often I'll use that with one blank option to get some interesting variants. So if I go to my prefabs, let me look up houses, because I think I have houses that kind of do this. Okay, let's drop a house on and see what happens. Nope, not that one. Delete. Regional. We'll try this. I don't think this one's it. No. Where is it? Maybe I called it building? Okay. Oh, wait. Okay, well, I can't find the house prefab, but I know what I can use. So I have this, what I call tree island. This is just one prefab where it's, a tree with some bushes and then some stuff holding the bushes in. But because the tree uses... I'm sorry, what the heck? No, it doesn't. All right, I'm just going to go to the map where it's on so I can show it off better. And if not, then, well, hey, live game dev, I can show you how it works. Locations, regional capital. And you guys can see another map, which is, 1 second, when it loads. This is why I don't like blueprints and hard references, because they make stuff take so long to load. Oh, great, more stuff to load. Loading all the level instances. I've also been working a lot on trying to reduce the amount of textures and shaders I'm using, because that adds to both runtime and file size and editor time, because I have to have a lot more stuff to keep track of, which is another reason I'm moving away from using marketplace assets any more than I need to, because I don't need more textures and shaders and stuff in here. Anyway, here we are in the capital city of Remdal, or the city of Remdal, which is the capital of the nation of Regal, the first nation you go to in the game. All right, I believe it's this. Yes, this is the correct one. It's called a tree island. It is still called a tree island. I don't know why it's looking weird. But if I open this up, and these are derivatives of it, I believe. No. Yes, the randomized mesh actor. So here I have this tree, which is randomized between these variants, and it does a 360. I believe these are, yes, these flowers are as well, and I have one blank option. So now, without making any manual edits, I just copy and paste this tree here, a few different places, and it'll automatically, randomize the tree and randomize the placement of the flowers in there. And it's, again, like, you can do this with PCG, but having this as a dedicated actor makes it a lot, because it's such a common use thing, makes it a lot simpler to do. And then, of course, you can lock down the seed so it doesn't change if you want to keep it, but just move where it is. I believe, this may have been what I was looking for, I think. Yes, I believe, well, let me go and look at it. This may have been another example I was showing off. Although I think it uses an older version of this, but it's the same idea of a blueprint version of that. But it's the same idea where I can place I can place different elements like leaves and vines here, randomize the type this thing here or this here, and then just as I duplicate it and move it around, it'll vary those things up. Pretty straightforward, easy to use, and that one already is implemented in Omega Game Framework. The preset system is not, but the basic mesh and like scaling and seeding from location is. So yeah, I have a level loaded in there, it seems. So all right, well we are now at 40 minutes, so I will transition back because we are over time. Yeah, if anyone has any final questions, this would be the time to get them in as we wrap up this dev update. And I guess I'll have to make an edit to the start of that before I put it up on a VOD. My head broke for a second there. Thank you, Neon Ghost. I'm glad you liked it. I hope yeah, these are kind of filling in a little bit filling in the void left by the devlog, since I don't really have time for full devlogs at the moment. But show you that there is still progress being made. Hopefully sooner or more progress than less, because it does feel like I'm more moving forward now. But yeah, so I'm trying to think if there's anything else really to discuss that I could discuss, but I think that's basically it. So, well, there's that bug again. I have a feeling it is a wasp, which is going to be annoying to have to deal with. 1 second. Sorry, a little bit of personal business. It's all good. All right. Well, we are at 1:40, so I'll say thank you all for coming. That's it for this dev update, and another one next month, first Monday of next month at the same time, and possibly stuff in between then. But again, I won't make any promises. We'll have to wait and see. All right.